What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video talking about some more Donkey Kong. Don't worry, this is not a speculation video or anything like that, but there were the time this recording, I'm recording this in late March, there were reports talking about a potential open world Donkey Kong game. I'll talk about that later. This is not a speculation video, I promise. I know people have been sick of my DK rumor videos, and I made a lot more than I anticipated, but about how much I wanted, how I think a new Donkey Kong game can happen and stuff, especially when it came to other stuff too. But we're saving that for later. Let's actually talk about how I think a 3D Donkey Kong game can work. Now, I did do a poll of ask you guys, what would you rather see attempt of a 3D Donkey Kong game? Now, yes, I know Donkey Kong 64, the footage you're seeing right now, exists, but that game is pretty controversial, which I will talk about. So there's hope, there's room for improvements, and the game is like 20 years old, so I definitely feel like you can easily make some a new 3D Donkey Kong can easily make improvements. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about. So yeah, I did ask you guys if you preferred a sandbox style 3D Donkey Kong, something like Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, or Super Mario Odyssey, or a linear 3D platforming Donkey Kong game similar to 3D World, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Mario 3D Land, those linear platformers, the Galaxy titles, somewhat. So yeah, most people would prefer the sandbox style, which I'm kind of surprised that won the poll, but I guess I'm also not surprised. Either way, I will talk about both attempts and how I think it worked. Now, I will say this now, if the Donkey Kong game tends to be a 2D platformer, I won't be upset. I'm still going to be very happy, but I know there's probably going to be some people bummed out because so many other franchises are getting 3D adventures, like Kirby, Pokemon, hell, even Sonic got one. So I'm hoping DK gets the same treatment, and the same treatment again. Hopefully they try again this time, because DK64 is a pretty controversial game from what I've heard. Like, man, I can't even you can't talk about anything good about this game unless it's the DK rap. Everyone knows that's peak video game rap. You can't talk about anything about the DK64 without someone bringing up the same arguments, which we will talk about. So, if it was a sandbox style 3D Donkey Kong, how will it be handled? Because you have to come up with, like, first off, the worlds. I guess I'll talk about that now. Obviously, there's jungles and stuff, which we don't want only jungles, obviously, but there should definitely be some unique environments for the Donkey. But Donkey Kong's always known for having unique environments and stuff like that, as we see with the Donkey Kong Country series. 2D Mario has some catching up to do. So, I definitely not concerned about this. Donkey Kong having unique environments and stuff like that. Even we see that with Tropical Freeze as well. There's been some unique environments and stuff than just the same, like, 5 level themes you always see. So, and I think around like 6, 7 worlds is good enough in my opinion for a 3D of Donkey Kong. I think it's enough for that. And the areas just should feel like, you know, something like, I had to compare to other games because, boy, this was hard for me to make, honestly. I think something like Super Mario Odyssey might be the best way to go, in my opinion. Something like that. Now, obviously, when talk about DK64 and, for some reason, Super Mario Odyssey, both were criticized for having too much to collect. Now, I'm not sure about either of these arguments. DK64 I can get behind, but Mario Odyssey I'm not really sure about. So, to make things fair, I don't know how many collectibles I can take. Now, for DK64, you have to technically do 5 playthroughs in each area. There's one area that's an exception, but pretty much in every area in Donkey Kong 64, you're technically doing 5 playthroughs at a time, because you have to go back to tag barrels and just gotta do some backtracking. And as someone who actually likes Donkey Kong 64 unironically, yeah, this definitely kills. This is why this game isn't actually for everyone. So, we're not doing that again. DK64 to anyone? We're not going to do the now, that also is an argument. Should there be other playable Kongs? This is where I got stuck, in my opinion, because I have 2 suggestions. Only make Donkey Kong playable, which I know people don't want that, but we've had similar. We've had something like Super Mario Odyssey, where you're only playing as Mario, and people want other characters like Wario, Rosalina, Waluigi, Daisy, I guess, to be playable and stuff, or just to show up and, you know, you can play as them. But and we also have Kirby, which you only play as Kirby, and that's one of like the better Kirby games. Oh shit. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, that's one of the better Kirby games That's better Kirby games, even if you couldn't play as King Deity, Bandana D, or Meta Knight. So it really depending on if you're okay with just. But the difference with DK, there's so many unique Kongs, even the obscure ones, like the irrelevant ones, like Diddy Kong. I feel like is an obvious one should be playable. Dixie Kong would be nice too. Playing as Funky would be sick. And then there's other obscure, irrelevant Kongs that, well, I guess not really irrelevant nowadays, but if you look at the Mario movie, but still, Chunky Kong, Lanky Kong, Tiny Kong, there's just, yes, Kitty Kong. There's just so many unique Kongs I feel like will have the chance to be playable, but going by Nintendo's realistic logic, I'm unsure what they can do. I feel like they would only make Donkey Kong, obviously, the main playable character. I mean, why wouldn't you play Donkey Kong in the main Donkey Kong game? Although, in all fairness, you can't play as DK in DKC2 or DKC3, including LAN and GBA ports, which is interesting. But yeah, but yeah, playable characters. I was stuck on this because Diddy being playable is one thing, but Dixie, I'm unsure because I don't want them to have like abilities that are like too similar to the other Kongs, because like in Tropical Freeze, Diddy Kong has his jetpack to like fly and stuff, but in DK64, Diddy Kong uses jetpack to actually fly in the air. And that would be the same case. I don't want to make it too similar, you know, unless they find a way to do it, which they probably will. So, but to make things on the safe side and to, you know, make a better experience, in my opinion, if DK was the only Kong playable, I wouldn't really complain, to be honest. DK is my favorite video game character, after all, besides Rosalina, obviously. So, but I know people don't want this, so I can't blame them. Hopefully they'll find a way to switch out Kongs collecting stuff without making it too underwhelming this time. I guess too bloated. So yeah, that's the playable characters. Yeah, other open world stuff like, you know, warping and stuff should be easy, straightforward, similar to Mario Odyssey. And there should be, and collecting stuff, you just keep going instead of warping out the area, sort of what Mario Odyssey does. So yeah, that should definitely be a thing. Oh, and another big problem with DK64. Minigames repeated. Don't get me started on the minigames. Despite me liking this game, a lot of minigames felt really repeated, and some of them are way too brutal. So, if they're gonna bring back minigames like that, I mean, there should be. Donkey Kong is known for little bonus-type minigames. I definitely feel like they should handle them well. Not be, like, in Returns and Tropical Freeze having, like, similar bonus levels, those were an exception because they weren't really that hard to begin with. So, yeah, I definitely feel like it really just depends on how they handle them, of course. But bonus games and stuff like that should be there because it's a standard for Donkey Kong titles. Alright, so yeah. Oh, I should also talk about what should DK's main gimmick be. Like, you know, Mario with the capture ability, Kirby with the whole sucking ability. Bring back DK's coconut gun! If he shoots ya, it's gonna hurt. Okay, all fairness, I don't think they ever bring this back as much as I want that, but I feel like there should be some crazy gimmick people would be shocked by, honestly. Something like that. But I guess the bongos coming back wouldn't be bad either, so yeah. Alright, so yeah, I think I pretty much talked about everything. But I guess for characters like Cranky Kong and Funky, they can have like their own usual places they're known for, like Funky's Flying By, Cranky Kong's cabin, little area. So they can have little areas like that. So yeah, I think that'd be the best way to go, for sure. And the bosses should obviously be handled. One of the major problems with basically Mario Odyssey, probably my biggest problem, is the bosses being a bit on the easy side, honestly, and compared to other titles. Not to say Mario Odyssey. I don't think Odyssey is a bad game, by the way. I would never hate it. It's one of my favorite Mario games, but definitely don't think it's perfect. So yeah, definitely the bosses should be handled well, and obviously warping to other areas. I did talk about that. So yeah, I think for a Sandbox 3D Donkey Kong game, I pretty much talked about all the things that can actually be improved, in my opinion. And other unique abilities, I feel like they will have to come up with something that I can't think of. So, yeah. Alright, so I think I talked about everything. Oh, and the main hub should obviously be DK's Treehouse. I mean, what else would it be? Unless DK is, like, warped out or something like that. I don't know what can happen, honestly. I can't think of a plot. Oh, of course! Bring back King K. Rool. That's the main one for sure. I definitely think K. Rool should come back after after him being playable in Smash. As long as a certain developers higher ups are okay with K. Rool being around, I definitely don't think it should be a problem. If he's referenced in some capacity, that's fine enough for me, honestly. There should obviously be some new enemies as well to make some variety. I honestly bring back the Snowmats too, because I actually kind of like them. Do not bring back the Tikis, though. They were lame as hell, despite me loving Donkey Kong Country Returns. Alright, so yeah, puzzles like that. The standard stuff I talked about in a sandbox 3D platforming game, like Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all the talks I got. The only concern I guess some people may have... Oh my god, you kidding me? Alright, yeah, but obviously the main other problems I guess some people may have is DK will be the only playable character, which I know people wouldn't like that, so... I don't know, maybe they'll find a way to handle it, but who knows. Anyway, yeah, that's all I can see with a sandbox 3D Donkey Kong game. Now, what if it's a linear 3D Donkey Kong game? Sort of like Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Super Mario 3D World, that type of 3D adventure. Which, in my opinion, I think that's a safer route, as much as I would prefer the sandbox, to be honest. Either one will make me happy, to be honest, but... in a linear 3D Donkey Kong game, since Donkey Kong games are known for being linear, and if people are concerned if this is going to be too big, I definitely don't expect a 3D Donkey Kong game to be big like Breath of the Wild or Xenoblade, that type of big, as much as I like that, to be honest. But I definitely think a linear 3D Donkey Kong game is a safer prediction, in my opinion. And it might be a mix of both, anything. I know probably some people... I'm really debatable if you're really into linear games. You can't really satisfy everyone, I swear. But I definitely think a linear 3D Donkey Kong game is a safer route, in my opinion. Because I don't know. Like, usual how Donkey Kong Country works. Collect all the Kong letters and any other collectibles, like puzzle pieces, if they bring them back. Anything like that, I feel like that should be, you know... I think it can work in a linear adventure and stuff like that. Probably a better fit, in my opinion, but Sandbox is still not a bad idea as long as it's handled well. And obviously, you would only still be playing as DK. I don't know, I guess also play as Diddy too. And I say linear 3D platformer again, like 3D World and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So yeah, that type of linear 3D platformer. Alright, and obvious usuals should come back, like what's known for Donkey Kong Country and stuff like that. Oh, and Animal Buddy should come back too. Like, bring back some fan favorites, like Winky the Frog, or Rattly, or Squitters. Those partners from the old Donkey Kong Country games. That'd be pretty cool too. And yeah, that's all I can really say. I guess I don't really have much else to say on what a 3D Donkey Kong game can work. Honestly... it really depending on how this will be handled, honestly. If a 3D Donkey Kong game does happen, of course, I'll be excited no matter what. I've always dreamed of a 3D Donkey Kong adventure. Obviously, there's DK64, but I always wanted another one, because we always be getting these... Not to say that 2D platforms are bad. They're peak 2D Nintendo 2D platforming besides Wario Land. But, I don't know. I think DK deserves another chance in a 3D adventure. And considering how much DK loved lately, I really hope he gets that 3D adventure, like with Sonic, Kirby, and Pokemon. So, yeah. Anyway, this has been quite a long video, but it's gonna end right now. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, everyone. What do you want to see in a 3D Donkey Kong game? Oh, of course, bring back David Wise for the soundtrack. He makes fantastic soundtrack. He needs to be there for sure. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you guys next time for another video. Later, folks.